Good, good evening, everyone. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry I missed last week, but we are back for Alex's TikTok Takeover. David Moyes just had his last game at the London Stadium, and he's got his last ever game in charge of West Ham United this Sunday against Manchester City. And could he be handing him the title? I do apologise for those sounds there a minute ago. My sound is now working. I'm having a few technical issues today. My computer is really playing up. I didn't want to risk doing this live on there, so I've got my laptop out, which doesn't have a camera. I'm using my phone as the camera, and hence why it's a complete mess, right? But I finally got it. I didn't realise I didn't have any sound. But please, let me know in the comments that you can hear me. Just confirm you can all hear me in the comments. So I really would appreciate it. Oh God, yeah, it's been a bit of a hectic last half an hour because my computer just started playing up. Anyway, we can move on now. And 1 second, just double check that I can hear and I am live. Ah, yes, there we are. I can hear. Anyway, right. So yes, David Moyes had his very last game at West Ham United on Saturday at the London Stadium. Against Luton, and it was a very typical Moyes performance, wasn't it? A very fitting way to end the David Moyes' tenure at West Ham United at London Stadium. We played very poorly in the first half, then put in a much better performance in the second half to come from behind and win the game. Goals from James Ward-Prowse, Thomas Soucek, and young George Urphy with his very first touch was absolutely brilliant. And George Urphy, first appearance for West Ham United in the Premier League, last 9 minutes, goes off unconscious. Second appearance, comes on within a minute and scores a goal within 55 seconds. Yeah, what a crazy start to his West Ham career. Absolutely mad. Now, I'm sure that there'll be a few people who are watching the Man City Tottenham game at the moment, and I have kind of got that on over there, so I am keeping an eye on it. Because, it could have implications on our game on Sunday, of course. If Man City draw this game, then they're going to have to beat us very heavily to have any chance of winning the title. If they lose the game, then they're going to have to win it to have any chance, just any chance. But if they win this game, they just need to win. So, they're going to they need to win. They need to win against us on Sunday. We are going to be finishing ninth, let's be honest here. We've got Brighton, who are the only team who can really catch us, and they need to win both of their games to overtake us. We have a chance of overtaking Manchester United that doesn't look very likely. I think if they get a result against Newcastle, that ain't going to happen. If they lose against Newcastle, we do have a chance, but then it would heavily rely on us beating Manchester City at the Etihad, which is something we just never do, is it? We never do. We've had some shocking results there in the past, and David Moyes has never won there. But then he'd never won at the Emirates, or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or Brighton. He'd never done any of those things. But how would we feel? How would we feel if David Moyes causes the upset of the season by beating Manchester City at the Etihad on the last day of the season to hand Arsenal the title? How would we really feel? It'd be mixed emotions, I feel, because we'll be giving Declan Rice the title, technically. Declan Rice would be winning his first Premier League title, and for a large part played by us by managing to beat Man City. It's not going to happen. We're not going to beat Man City. That's why the Arsenal fans are really rooting for Tottenham tonight, because they see this game as their best chance of winning the title by Tottenham causing an upset against Man City. So, it could be an exciting end. If we go into Manchester City and they need to to win very, very heavily, there, you know, it could be quite it could be quite a fun experience, I guess. I mean, I'm going up to the Etihad on Sunday. It'll be my second away game of the season, so I think it should be a good laugh. Maybe I'll get to see the team lift the Premier League trophy, because I've never been at a stadium when a Premier League team has won the Premier League trophy. I would love it to be West Ham one day. Probably won't, but I would love it to be West Ham United one day. But you know, that might be something to experience anyway. So yeah, is Moyes going to cause that upset? Probably not. I wouldn't expect, but you never know, do you? You never know. And it's very quiet in the comments tonight, isn't it? Anyway, let's talk about the Luton game a little bit. Obviously, we started with a slightly changed lineup to the team that just got humiliated by Chelsea. Like, properly humiliated by Chelsea, weren't they? 5-0, terrible performances. Alvarez came off half-time during that game. Apparently he had a little bit of an altercation with Moyes. Wasn't happy with the performance of the players, wasn't happy with the style of play we were doing, apparently. Did have some crosswords, and that's the reason why he came off at half-time and James Ward-Prowse came on. And then, of course, he was on the bench for Sunday's game against Luton and didn't end up coming on. Players like George Murphy and Caelan Casey got in, but we were quite comfortable at that point, so there probably wasn't any need to put Alvarez on anyway. But whether or not whether or not he would have come on, or if that was a little punishment for whatever Alvarez did or said against Chelsea, I don't know. But I expect him to be back in the first team for Sunday's game against Man City. I personally would try and up front. Why not? Stick him up front. Let's just mix it around. I want to see Antonio in goal. He hasn't played in goal yet. I think, you know, because we don't want to see Arsenal win the title, do we? Is it 1-0 Man City? Is it 1-0 Man City? Because I'm a little bit behind. Stuart. How you doing? You seem to be the only one in. Anyway, evening, it was a good atmosphere there on Saturday, best of since for a long time. No, it was a really good atmosphere, wasn't it? It was a really, really it was a really good atmosphere on Saturday. I think the fans really got behind it, and it was nice to see the stadium ovation and the applause all for David Moyes. I'm a little bit disappointed the club didn't do more. You know, maybe giving him his own. Maybe a montage on the big screens or something like that, something for Moyes. But I don't think Moyes wanted a fuss made, really, did he? And it is one minute, and it's Haaland, is it? Is he not celebrating? Oh dear. Even though Xavier Alvarez wants to play, is it still? Did he get disallowed? It says 1-0 on my screen. Anyway, so I feel like are we all slightly behind? I think we're all at different stages. I felt that the club should have done more, but apparently David Moyes didn't want to make a fuss. But it was nice to see the fans all show their appreciation to David Moyes. It was really nice, and I think he saw that appreciation. And it was nice to see some news outlets showing it as well, and putting it out there that we do appreciate everything that David Moyes has done. Because so many pundits and so many opposition fans were saying that we forced him out, that we've underappreciated everything he's done, but we haven't. We appreciate everything he's done. It's just, it's just gone a little bit downhill, hasn't it? It's gone a bit downhill over the last 12 to 18 months, especially the last 6 months. It's gone very downhill since Christmas. It's been absolutely shocking, and now it's definitely the right time to move on. But it was good. Evening, Happy Amaret. How are you? It was lovely to meet you before the Bayer Leverkusen game, by the way, as well. That was really nice to meet you, so that was great. Evening chat. I think everyone's watching the City game, hence why I thought I'd have it on, because last time there was a big game on, no one came in. It was a decent send-off, made 10 times better by club announcing him a few days before. Yeah, I think that was the right move to announce that he was leaving. It was definitely the right move, so the fans knew that that he was going to be moving on. And yeah, no, it was definitely the right thing to do. And it's going to be the end of an era, isn't it? It is the end of an era. And I know a lot of people are going to be say things like, he's left our squad in tatters and things like that. And yeah, the squad isn't in a great place, but the club as a whole is in a much better position. Is that better? Sorry, I'm on a kind of like a makeshift setup tonight. Happy Hammerette. I'm on a very makeshift setup tonight because my computer's not working very well. So if you, can you hear me any better now? Does that sound any better now if I hold the mic up like this? Please let me know if you can't hear me. Keeps going in and out. Right, this is I don't know what just One second. Right. Is that sound any better now? Is that better? Is that a lot better now? Because I've turned the volume up. I say I do apologise about the sound tonight. It's been a bit of it's a bit of a makeshift setup because my computer has decided that it did not want to play ball tonight, which was really quite annoying. But hey, I'm up and running now, so it's good to hear that people can hear me. Happy Hammerette. What do you make of Down saying he's happy to stay at the Saints? I'm a little bit about that. I mean, I get it. I understand. I understand Down's being happy there. Totally understand him being happy there because he's had a fantastic season. He's loved by the fans. He's getting first team regular football. And probably when he looks at West Ham United, he sees his position being taken by Alvarez and thinking, yeah, do you know what? I love West Ham. I'd love to be there, but I'm not going to get a lot of game time. I'm not going to be playing week in, week out, which he's not. He's not. I'd love to have him back, and he'll be a great backup to Alvarez, but that's what he will be. He will be a backup. And now we don't have European football. The chances of him getting a lot of game time would be very, very limited. So, yeah, no, I understand him probably wanting to stay at the Saints, and if that's what he wants to do, then that's great. You know, that's fine for him. But I mean, we have got young Freddie Potts, who's had a fantastic season at Wycombe Wanderers. Is he going to be okay for the Premier League? Is he going to be able to match the speed and the pace of the Premier League? That is still to be answered. But it would be nice if he is given a shot. Obviously, they'll have a good look at him in pre-season, maybe give him a couple of run-outs in some pre-season games to see how he goes, along with some of the other academy guys like George Murphy, who we saw at the weekend, who had an impactful performance, scoring a goal, made some good passes. Very energetic, which is really good to see. I'd like to see a little bit more of Lewis Alford as well. Oliver Skiles, I'd like to see a little bit more of him, but he's been out injured for quite a while, so hopefully he is back and playing soon. Callum Marshall had a disappointing loan spell at West Brom, ended up returning to West Ham. Scored last night as I think in the under-21s, lost against Sunderland on penalties. So it'll be good to see a little bit more of him. And Caelan Casey as well. It'd be great if he is one of our options at centre back. But we definitely have to do. It's definitely going to be a lot of changes this summer, and it's definitely going to be a lot of changes this summer, and it will be interesting to see how the academy guys are introduced and if we are going to be using those at all. I mean, Lopetegui is coming in. Had spells with the Porto under-19, I think Real Madrid under-19, Spain under-21s and all that. So he's got a lot of experience with youth players. So he can probably recognise talented ones and the ones that will probably have a future. And apparently he's seen them and he's quite excited by our academy. So hopefully he will utilise those players a little bit more next season. Hopefully he will. Stuart, who do you think scored the best goal on Saturday for us? Oh, it's got to be Souček, hasn't it? I mean, it was on the volley. Such an underrated goal that one was. It really was such an underrated goal because the way he took it, it was just perfectly hit. Perfectly hit. James Ward-Prowse was a nice goal. I love the movement from George Murphy though, because it was him and Bowen in the box, I think it was, and Bowen was just ahead, and Murphy he just made that run round the back just to sneak in at that near post, just to get in for Kudus' cross. He anticipated what Kudus wanted to do, so that was some really great movement there from Murphy, the way he anticipated that. So no, that was also it was it was a little tapping, but the movement to get in that position was really good. But no, for me, Souček's goal was the best. He scored some great ones this season. I say that one against Everton was a cracker as well. But it was good to see James Ward-Prowse back on the score sheet as well. 50 appearances for West Ham already. That's mad. That's what European football does for you, isn't it? 50 appearances in his first season. That just shows how reliable he has been fitness-wise. Definitely has. Budgie. Good evening, Alex. Any truth in the rumours that we're going to be linked with 107 players this summer? I heard it was 117. I think we're already up to about 17 now. Hasn't even opened yet. We are probably going to be linked with everyone. I think we'll probably be linked with more players than we ever have been because we are going to have a busy summer. We're going to need to have a busy summer. I was working this out the other day. I feel like we need 2 centre-backs. We're going to need, because we're going to have Johnson leaving probably, because we offered him a new contract and he's still rejecting it, so he's probably going to move on. So we need another right-back, possibly another left-back, because I feel like Criswell needs to move on, so that could be another left-back coming in. Although we do have Oliver Skulls, will he be utilised in that position as the backup? I don't know, but so that's a possibility. So that's a whole new back line. Do we need a backup for Alvarez or not? Can we persuade Downs to stay, or are we going to promote Freddie Potts up? I don't know, but we definitely need cover in that position because of Alvarez's disciplinary problems. I mean, he's great when he plays, but he does like to get suspended a lot. So, yeah, that's going to be one that we need to look at. I feel like we need another midfielder, probably a box-to-box midfielder. That'd be really good, who has that technical ability to play that very unique pass that Paquetá does. Because if Paquetá does leave, we need a player like that. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, we need another player exactly like Paquetá who can play in that number 10 role behind the striker. I feel like that's where we need to possibly utilise Kudus a little bit more next season because he's been utilised on the left a lot this season and that he likes to gravitate more to his left-hand side. And when he does that, he runs along the line, but he likes to be in the middle. His best place is coming off that right-hand side into the middle to cause problems in front of the goal. So we either got to utilise him on that right, which we're not going to do because we've got Bowen, or we need to utilise him in that middle. And if we utilise him in that middle, I don't think Kudus has got a hell of a lot of qualities that Paquetá doesn't have, but he doesn't have that kind of like unique pass where he just plays it over the top. He can run, he can take on players, he can strike it brilliantly, he can stick in a great cross. But that little dink ball over the top, that clever ball that no one else sees. I'm not sure if Kudus is that kind of player to do it. So I feel like if we bring in a number 8 kind of thing, who has got that ability, then I think that might help us in the middle of that park. And we need a striker as well, and we need a left winger, possibly more than one. Yes, we have Kudus who can play in that position, but we definitely need a striker. We definitely do. I'm fine with keeping Antonio, as long as he is not the first choice striker. He'll be great off the bench. He could be a right handful in games. But yeah, we definitely need a new striker. So that's a striker, that's a left winger, that's a new midfielder, that's 2 centre backs, a right back, a left back, and probably another player in there. So I've done 7, 8 signings we need to make this summer. That's a lot of signings. That is a lot of signings. Of Antonio Zuma, Sojek, and Sofel possibly being backup players next season, who of them do you think will be happy with that? Antonio, I think, will be fine with that, given his age. I think he's going to kind of accept. Although I think he likes the challenge, Antonio. So I think he will he we always seem to get the best out of him when we bring in a new striker. When we brought in Haller, when we brought in not so much last season with Skamaka, but when we brought in Haller, he was keeping Haller out of the side because of his great performances. So he does like that competition. So I think Antonio will be fine bringing a striker in, even if that does make him second choice. Zuma, I think he accepts the fact and he knows his own body and will know that he can't play every single game. And he will also know that his performances have not been good enough this season. I wonder how he will react if we take the captaincy off him. That's a different matter because I don't feel like he is the best person to be captain. We need to bring someone in or give the captaincy to someone else next season, especially if he's not going to be playing regular. So I do wonder how he will take that. Socek, I think he's just happy to play. I don't think I think he might accept a season of it, but then he might want to move on. And it's the same with Sofel. They're both hard workers and they'll both get on with it and do what they need to do. But yeah, I think it all depends really. They're the two that I would worry about the most, not being first choice, Socek and Sofel, personally. Sure, we've got a good youth squad coming through. Hopefully next season someone will get a chance in the first team. Yeah, hopefully they will. If there had been Helen scoring that goal, we wouldn't hear the end of it. What is that? What Earthy's goal, Budgie? That we talk about? See, here we go. Zaha and Nestle coming in next season. Well, we keep on being linked with Nestle. I found out today that he was 26 years old. I thought we've been linked with him for so many years now. I thought we've been linked with him for like the last 10 transfer windows. I thought he must have been in third by now. But no, he's only 26 and he's been doing all right. I think he scored like 19 goals last season or this season for Seville. So, and it was Lopetegui who signed him for Seville in the first place. So I think if there's any window where we are going to sign him, it will be this window. I think we're going to be looking at a few strikers. We're definitely going to be trying to get one in. Would it be him? I don't know. Other targets like Solanke, I would love to see Solanke at West Ham United. I think he would be absolutely brilliant in our team. However, I don't think West Ham will end up paying the amount that Bournemouth would want for him. I also thought that about Ivan Toney, but apparently Brentford are open to letting Ivan Toney go on the cheap. So that is a possibility, but I've always said that I think that Ivan Toney thinks that West Ham isn't big enough for him. So I don't see Ivan Toney coming to West Ham. So yeah, Nesle is a real interesting one. Now, when it comes to Zaha, the way I look at it is he's 31 years old. He's got Premier League experience. He can still do a job in the Premier League. But if we bring him in, we need someone young to come in as well. Well, we need two players who can do that left hand side role. Now, and it will be like Zaha will be the older professional, the one who knows what it's all about, and can maybe help that new younger player come in because we are talking to a certain Brazilian left winger, and that could be an interesting player to bring in. So maybe if we do bring in Zaha, which I'm not totally against because he does have Premier League experience and he has been very good in the Premier League. He knows the Premier League inside out. So I do think he would do well. I feel like we definitely need to bring in someone younger as well to kind of be his understudy in that position. But I'm still not convinced. I mean, I've always liked the idea of Jack Clark from Sunderland. And I feel like he's ready for that move up to the Premier League. So I would like to see him. But there is a few other exciting Championship players that could also play there as well. Oh, the Socek goal. Yeah, if Haaland scored that, I think if anyone scored that. Say like McAllister from Liverpool or Rice. If Rice scored that goal, you'd never hear the end of it, would you? Especially from the Arsenal fans. It was a great goal. It was a great goal. Bill, evening all. My concerns with next season is the fear of getting these incoming players time to gel under the new coach, trying to blend into his system. Yeah, no, I mean that is going to be the big worry next season. I'm always looking at next season a little bit pessimistic. To the thing is, he needs a season because the rumor is that he's getting a 2-year contract with the possibility for a third, and with a year option. I think that year option only can only be activated if we get Europe. I've heard rumours. I don't know if that's true or not, but these are the rumours I've heard. Now, that first season will be to gel the players because I think the board understands that there is going to be a lot of change in the club. There's going to be a lot of new players coming in. There's going to be a change behind the scenes with the staff and all the coaches. So, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time to gel. So we may end up with a bit of a transition season, and we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be saying, be careful what you wish for, blah, 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 blah. You know, if it doesn't gel straight away and we have some poor performances, and I would urge everyone not to get on the back of the new manager straight away if that is the case. It may not be the case. We may just have some indifferent performances, but when you bring in a lot of new players, there is going to be a period of tradition of transition. So, yeah, that is a fear of mine too. But I think if we get them in early, and I think that is what we are planning to do, that is what we're aiming to do. I know traditionally we don't do that, we don't bring in players early, but apparently Lopetegui started working hard already to try and get some early deals done. If we can do that and they have a full pre-season together, hopefully we can start to gel, the players can start to gel, they can start to get to know each other, and we can hit the ground running. That would be amazing. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. There's going to be a lot of unknowns. There's going to be, so many changes. So many changes. We've been used to the same thing for the last 4 years. So we've got to be prepared for a little bit of change. And I think we just got to be prepared to be a little bit patient as well because, things may not gel straight away. It may take a little bit of time. You just look at Chelsea and Pochettino. It's taken him over half a season to get those players playing well, and now he has got them playing well. They are picking up results, and they are moving up the league. So yeah, sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. Hopefully it does. Budgie. Scholes is a great prospect, I agree. He's pretty much Emerson in training. I'd like to see how he develops with him as a direct mentor. Yeah, I think that'd be really good because I say Emerson has come on leaps and bounds since he's been at West Ham. Especially, he was our best player in the Conference League final, in my opinion, and I think he's had a brilliant season. I just don't think. I also don't think he gets the plaudits that he deserves as well because he has been one of our most consistent players. And I feel like him working alongside young Oliver Scholes will do him the world of good. And definitely want to see more of him. But so he's been out for a while now with a little bit of an injury, so he hasn't played as much. Hopefully he's back for pre-season and then he will get some chances because he was in and around the first team. So I do think we may have seen more of him in this second half of the season if he was fit. Maybe instead of Creswell, I don't know. Probably not. But hopefully next season we will. Hopefully we will. Well, you're thinking of the trouble Nottingham Forest had with so many changes? Yeah, well, they had that combined with the fact that they were coming into the Premier League as well, didn't they? Because they just got promoted and they made something ridiculous like 25 signings. They brought in so many new players. And, I mean, you look at them this season, they still haven't been brilliant. They're sitting, 3 points above the relegation zone. So, and they've had 2 different managers in that time. I think it's just the levels, really. And Nottingham Forest, they didn't have Premier League proven players or so many Premier League proven players to begin with either. So it's a very different situation because we're still going to have pretty much I wouldn't say the spine of the team. You'll still have players like Ward-Prowse and Alvarez and Kudus and Bowen, but you're still going to have all those who have Areola. The defence, I think, is where we might see a lot of changes. It's whether or not, Aguerd will end up staying, because I feel like Aguerd needs to be given a second chance under a different manager. I just don't think he's enjoyed working under Moyes in the system that Moyes has played. So if Lopetegui comes in and he does change the system, he plays a different way. He does apparently like to play a lot more possession-based football, which probably would suit Aguerd's game a little bit more. Then we might see Aguerd start a little bit more, because I have liked Aguerd. It's just his vulnerabilities lay in that one-on-one kind of defending, which he has to do a hell of a lot. He has to do that a hell of a lot in a Moyes system, which is probably why he wasn't overly pleased, because it was probably one of his weaker areas. But if he's not asked to do that as much, or he doesn't need to do that as much, we might see some better performances from him, and he might be he might turn out to be a really good signing. So yeah, I mean, I've also liked Mavropanos as well. I think he's done well. I think he's really grown into this season. It's a shame he has been injured. Abonga, I love the man. I think he's been a fantastic servant. But I think it's time that he moves on. I know we're thinking about offering him a new contract, and I've got nothing really against that. As long as that he's not, if he's someone behind the scene who can work with someone like Caden Casey. But when we need it, it's more Caden Casey is getting the call rather than a Bonga, if you know what I mean. So he will be there to kind of mentor him. I've got no problem in that kind of phase, but I feel like a Bonga has just lost a lot of pace now. Personally, I just feel like he has. And so I don't think a lot of changes are going to affect us as bad as they affected Nottingham Forest, because we do have a lot of the structure of our squad still in place. Kind of veered off that question a little bit, didn't I? Stuart, I think Alvarez would be a good captain, but he has to calm down with the tackles and not get too many yellow cards. Yeah, I've always thought Alvarez would be a good catcher. He's got that passion and that fire, hasn't he? You can see it in his eyes, and he really likes to get involved. But do you want to take that a little bit of that out of his game? Do you get the same player? If you take that kind of fiery side out of him that does lead to him getting some yellow cards, do you get the same player? I mean, that is the question. I'm not sure. I've got no problem with him. If someone said Bowen, I don't think I've had too many issues with that. I know that he would love to be captain. Is whether or not he has got, if he's vocal enough, So I'm not sure, but Alvarez will be a really good call. Maybe we bring in a new centre back. If we bring in someone like Max Kilman, for example, from Wolves, who's been Wolves captain, I think he could do a job. Premier League, proven already, comes in, he's going to be a starter, captain experience. You watch him play, very vocal, very good captain. So, if we can bring in a player that could do that captain's role as well, I wouldn't be against that. But no, Alvarez would be a good shot. Good shout. Billy Bob, you've recently caressed the like button. How very kind of you. Thank you very much, Billy Bob. Still 1-0. All right. Of that starting 11 that will be still people as next week, do you think we could take the armband, should Floppy Loppy not give it to a new Floppy Loppy? That's a new one. I've gone to calling him J-Lo. I mean, Floppy Loppy's a new one, though. That's a good one. I like that. Floppy Loppy. I just talked about the captain, didn't I? I did talk about the captain. That's if he last 2 years likes to go AWOL. See, I mean, this is a lot of misinformation when it comes to Lopetegui, isn't it? Because I mean, obviously, I'm assuming you've seen the couple of videos that have been on the West Ham network. The one with Glenn Balaghi, who was very much in support of Lopetegui, and one with the Wolves fan who gave his point of view. And usually, when you hear two different points of view, usually the truth lays somewhere in the middle. Do you know what I mean? So Glenn Balaghi was saying that the Wolves board lied to him several times, and he just felt like he didn't have he didn't have a leg to stand on anymore. He didn't trust them. He didn't feel comfortable in that position anymore, so he decided to leave. And you hear it from that point of view, and you go, well, yeah, that's the truth. I understand that. And then you hear it from the Wolves' point of view, where apparently he was quite demanding. He done some interviews, and he was calling out the board, and the Wolves didn't like that, and Wolves weren't happy with him. And you're like, well, which one is it? I mean, there's elements of truth from both sides. And I say, when you hear things like that, it's kind of like, yeah, the truth lays somewhere in the middle. He had a good run at Seville. Um, he had a good run at Porto as well. He had a good run as Spain manager. There is a little bit of element that he kind of spoke to Real Madrid when he was Spain manager, but apparently Spain knew he was talking to him. Apparently Spain knew that he was talking to Real Madrid, but they still let him go when he said that he was going to join Real Madrid. So I don't know how much of that is true. So yeah, I mean, look, this could be an interesting time. It could be. Apparently, he has a lot of passion, so he could be a quite passionate, and he does come out with something. So he could be an interesting manager. A very kind of different manager to David Moyes. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, huge transitional period next season. I'm not expecting much, as so many players need updating, plus hopefully a different playing style. I don't know what's hit them when we get 50% possession. 50% possession? We might get 52% possession. That would be amazing. The possession is only 10 tenths of the law, or 9 tenths of the law, or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't get you everything, but it would be nice to see us have a little bit more possession sometimes. And no, what would be nice is to see us do more productive things with the possession when we have it. Because there's been games where we have had more possession, and when we tend to have more possession, we don't really know what to do with it. So hopefully Lopetegui can come in and show the players that we can, some things to do when we do have possession. That's a little bit different than what we have been doing for the last 2 years or so. Of all the negative traits a new head coach can have, ending his contract early if he doesn't get backed is one of the better ones. That is one of the better ones. Yeah, I mean, if he's not backed, I mean, this is where my worry comes in, because David Sullivan, not the easiest person to work with, and his tendencies could cause some issues. And that is always a worry. And I think David Moyes was happy to work with Sullivan. Will Lopetegui? I don't know. Maybe Lopetegui is kind of leaving all that up to Tim Steidten, and he's only dealing with Tim Steidten, staying away from Sullivan. Maybe, I don't know. Could be really, as I say, it's going to be interesting. By the sounds of it, Aguerd has had enough and already chosen his next self. Can't blame him, to be honest. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there is a possibility. Maybe the change of manager may, lead him to want to see what the new manager can offer before he moves on. I don't know. He signed for West Ham for a reason. Maybe he wants to give it a second chance under a different coach. If he leaves, he leaves. If we can get some money for him and we can bring in someone new, that's fine. Well, we move on. We move on. I'm not fully against him staying. I'm not fully against him going either. I'm kind of like take it or leave it, really. If he does say, I'd like to see what he can do, and hopefully he puts in some better performances. Would think 8 players out, 6 new in few loans back and integrate some youngsters. Plus we have new coach and a team whole summer to work it out. That's a lot of players. We need more players in than players out, because we haven't got enough. I mean, look, I think Downs is probably going to go to Southampton. I think they'll get a deal done there. Kira is going to go Monaco. I think that deal's been agreed. Ben Rahm is a little bit of an unknown at the moment, because I don't think he was happy under Moyes, and he never really wanted to go to Lyon. So maybe he will be open to coming back. I'm not sure how I feel about Ben Rama coming back, because I wasn't disappointed when he left. I wasn't. So we could see that. So that would be, from the loan signings, that's Downs and Kira out. Johnson's going to leave, probably. Mubama probably will leave. I could see Creswell leaving. Danny Ings, maybe. He could move on. I would imagine Cornet may move on as well. So we could see quite a few players leave. Maybe a Bonger if we bring in decent replacements. Maybe Zuma. Maybe a Gwedge. Yeah, there could be a lot of players going out. But yeah, we could utilise the loan market a little bit. Hopefully, we do better than the last loan signing we made. God, that was terrible. Did you see Gonzo's piece in the media, preconceptions of what they believe that West Ham fans won't really take it? Do you know what? No, I have. I saw someone talking about that the other day, and I meant to look at it a little bit more, but I haven't yet. But I'm going to make sure I do. Do you want to give me a little bit more info on what he said? Because I haven't seen that yet. How many fans wanted J-Lo? Media pundits can bite me. J-Lo wasn't my first choice. Honestly, he wasn't. I wanted Fonseca, personally. I wasn't against Almalin. I was never fully against Lopetegui. I still had my doubts, but I don't know. Doing a little bit more research and reading up and hearing some professional opinions on him, I'm willing to give the man a chance, and I think that there is a possibility that he can do well. But I still have my doubts. He definitely wasn't my first choice to replace David Moyes. I'm still not 100 convinced that he is an upgrade on David Moyes either. We're going to have to wait and see on that. We got Sloppy Loffy. He knows exactly what we need. Sloppy Loffy. That's a terrible name. Sloppy Loffy. I wonder how his wife feels. Oh, no, that's shocking. Right. Alright, anyway, where are we? Let's catch up with someone. Bill, do you think Lopetegui will be so vague in his press interviews or actually let a little more truth about the players' fitness, etc.? He strikes me as someone that probably has his heart leaves his heart on the sleeve a little bit. So I think he might be a little bit more upfront. Maybe. I mean, Moyes likes to keep everything very close to his chest. I would actually like to have a better idea of how long players are going to be out injured for when they're injured, because we had that with Paquetá, we had it with Bowen. When they were out injured, we just had no idea how long they were going to be out for, whether it was going to be one game or whether it was going to be 10 games. We just didn't know. And that's what I found really frustrating, because we just had no idea. We didn't have a date where we could look forward to and think, we could have him back for that date. David Moyes never let that information out. He kept it all very close to his chest. So I'd like Lopetegui to be a little bit more open there. Obviously, you don't want him to be too open, because then you can end up rattling the cage a little bit. We don't want to be doing that too much, because that can have its very negative side effects, obviously. So I hope he is a little bit more open. Maybe he has a little bit more flair to him. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect from him in these press interviews and these press conferences and things like that. How he's going to react after a game. As I say, I've heard that he's very passionate, and he does like to get involved, and he does like to make his feelings known. Does like the odd booking here and there. So we could see a lot of that on the bench, maybe. We could. Mark, hoping Ben will sign and Cornet hopefully stay now. Ben, I think with Johnson, it was never about Moyes. It was always about first team football and the guarantee of first team football. And I don't think Moyes was guaranteeing that. So whether Lopetegui comes in, but I fear that he's already made that decision, because I think we offered him a new contract again this week when he knew that Moyes was going. And I think unless the price was right, or the contract was right in regards to how much playing time we would get, he was always going to move on. So Yeah, I think that's gone now, but you never know. You never know. But I'd love to see Ben stay. Cornet, he just hasn't been given an opportunity. Whether Lopetegui will like him or not, apparently he's got some injury problems in regards to that long term injury he had last season. And so you do wonder if that is going to have if that is one of the reasons why he hasn't been playing, he hasn't been involved. Yeah, again, that was something like Moyes never really kind of let on what was going on there, really. So, yeah, we don't really know what was going on with Cornet, whether he just didn't like him or was there a reason why he didn't prefer to play him instead of other players? I don't know. So, yeah, Lopetegui may have a difference. I think he's going to have a look at everyone in the squad and then make his decision. But there may be some players who have already been earmarked to leave already, so. Imagine us drawing against City next week or us beating City, but Arsenal losing to Everton. That would be the perfect outcome. Infamy junkie. Perfect outcome. We beat City and then Arsenal lose to Everton. That would then we can say, well, we did our part, but you didn't do yours. God, I could rinse that for weeks on TikTok. Weeks. I've been winding them up this week, the Arsenal fans. I love winding them up. It's so easy. Surprised Cressy hasn't snapped up another year, seeing as Floppy Loppy wanted him with Wolves, Ipswich bound, I reckon, to finish his career. I think he wants to move up north a little bit more, Creswell, because he's originally from up north. And I think he earmarked, I think that's why he didn't mind Wolves, because that was closer to home. So I think he's made it clear now that he wants to leave. Honestly, I think it's time. I don't see why we are offering new contracts to 34-year-old left backs. I seriously don't. We need to bring in some young, fresh blood. And it's kind of like the same situation with a Bonga as well. While I wouldn't mind him being there in the background, we need younger players in. You know, we've got such an aging squad. Such an aging squad. I love Cresswell and everything he's done for West Ham, I really do. But no, it's definitely time for him to move on, I feel. Budgie agreed, but Merson and Crooks basically saying J-Lo rubbish before he's even joined. Yeah, this is what I don't get. I don't know how they can come out and because I saw that from Merson. That Merson says like he could be manager for 25 years and not achieve some of the one thing that David Moyes achieved. Like, how could you possibly know that, Merson? Don't get his agenda. He's a really weird man, really weird pundit. Don't know what he's all about. And Crooks as well. Yeah, yeah. Be careful what you wish for. I love that saying. It's all these people that have never watched West Ham United. Look at the black and white and think we're idiots. But if they actually did a little bit of research and watched some of the games that we have been playing, and Man City are 2-0 up, which means Arsenal need us to beat City to win the league. They need to rely on us. Brilliant. Yeah, well, you just don't know what Lopetegui. You've got to give him a damn chance before. Like, people judging him before he's even taken a training session is ridiculous, isn't it? I love the idea of treating players to a clean sheet meal. A clean sheet meal? Well, they get a pizza if they get a clean sheet. Or is it like a pub, maybe a Frankie and Benny's? Bit of Harvester, maybe? Love a bit of Harvester, mate. Yeah, we've spoken about Mercer. He doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. We haven't pushed Moyes out at all. And I know he's like, oh, you sacked Moyes. No, we haven't. We just haven't renewed his contract. Big difference. Big difference. Creswell back to Ipswich would be beneficial to them with experience if they can afford it. Swap for Creswell for Leif Davis. That's what I do. Creswell for Leif Davis. It's a bad deal for Ipswich. Great deal for us though, because I like Leif Davis. He would be my choice to bring in that left back. Gonzo basically saying media supporters of Moyes already have there. You've got what you wish for if things go south. If things go south, it's not It doesn't mean that it's a mistake getting rid of Moyes. It means that we have failed to find the right replacement. That's what these people don't understand. They can't compute. They'll look at us maybe if we do have a bad season and we finish in the bottom half. One, they won't look at it as a transitional season where we've made a lot of changes in the summer, a new style of play, in the players, and everyone adapting to this new season. They won't take that into account. And second, they'll just look at it and think, "Oh, you should have kept Moyes," ignoring the fact that he's only had one season. Now, if it happens after a couple of seasons and we don't achieve anything, then it still doesn't mean that it was wrong for us to get rid of Moyes. It just means that we brought in the wrong manager to replace him. That's it. We just got to learn to ignore all these pundits that do not watch West Ham on a regular basis. They don't have to sit through these games like we do. They haven't seen what we've seen. But if they did, they would understand it. But because they don't, they look at the black and white, they say, "Oh, European football, top six, oh, it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing." So yeah, try and watch us for 90 minutes every single week and then sit there and tell us it's fucking amazing. Bullshit. They don't know what they're on about. Just ignore people that do not watch West Ham. They don't know what they're talking about. It was funny when Moisty, well, this is getting very fruity now, Hammer, would say certain players is out and then the club post pics of the players training. That's very moisty of him. Oh, Budgie's off. See you later, Budgie. Was that the 2-0? Was that a penalty? I just looked up and saw it was 2-0. You look very tanned, Alex. I didn't see this saying it off tomorrow. It's going to be. When the sun's out, I'm outside. I spent most of the Saturday outside. I was outside most. I was in the garden. Yeah, so I was out. Apart from when I was at the stadium, I was in the sun on Saturday. I was in the garden on Sunday. I was doing walks on Friday. I'm in the sun all the time. I love it, and I tan really easily. So I like being tan. Sorry to people who don't. Also, the lighting is it makes it look better. If Arsenal lose, then we can go easy on Man City and not embarrass them in our own backyard. Well, they all kick off at the same time, so unfortunately, we don't know if we have to take it easy or not and let Man City off. We're going to have to be at the top of our game straight away. So, we may end up handing Arsenal the title because we were just too good for City. You never know. You never know. I think it was Harden who scored the second, wasn't it? Must have been from the penalty spot, I assume. Alex. Hello, Alex. It's Alex. I want us to beat Man City and Arsenal to beat. You want us to beat Man City and Arsenal to beat Everton. That means Arsenal win the title. So this is something else because, obviously, I do a lot of stuff on TikTok and I post, and then when I talk about Arsenal and how I'm not a fan of Arsenal, I don't like Arsenal, and they always say, "Oh yeah, we got Declan Rice." And I said, "No, I wish Declan Rice all the best. I want Declan Rice to go on and win as many things as he can possibly win. I just don't want him to win them with Arsenal. I don't. I do not want him to win them with Arsenal. But if he does, he does. I'll be happy for him because, he was great. I just wish he never went to Arsenal. Really didn't. Oh, at Wolves, Loppy would take him out for pasta or Indian if they got a clean sheet. Oh, that's cool. Won't cost him a lot at West Ham. Not with our defence. May have to do that once, maybe twice a season. I'm behind on the City game thanks for the 2-0 spoiler. No worries. Someone spoiled it in the comments for me because I'm behind someone else. I think everyone is at different levels because we all don't watch it the same way anymore, do we? 10 minutes of added time. They expect Spurs to suddenly get... Do they suddenly expect Spurs to get 2 goals within 5 minutes? Villa got 2 goals within 5 minutes last night against Liverpool. So, not impossible. Against Man City, though, I can't see it happening. Can't see it happening. Straight on AFTV after this. Yeah, that should be fun. Get on AFTV, it's glorious. Oh, are they losing? Are they losing it over there? Are they? Funny when be careful what you wish for. When ironically we want to win the Europa and finish top 7, so in theory Moyes would get a new contract. So pundits are fucking stupid. When ironically we wanted to win the Europa and finish top 7, so in theory, yeah, I know, I know. So I mean, look, if we did finish top 7 or we did win the Europa, Moyes would have had a new contract, and people, yeah, that's exactly what you say. Be careful what you wish for. No, no, I mean, it's not. We're out of Europe. That European journey has ended now. We have suffered numerous heavy defeats this season. It's more than just that. It's more than just that. Oh my god, the AFT chat is hilarious. What are they blaming it on? Are they blaming it on the ref, or are they blaming it on Tottenham not giving a crap? What are they blaming it on? AFTV? Because I haven't really been watching it. It's on, but I haven't been watching it. Fake AFT still look at those fish. Switching back and forth. I'm going to have a look on AFTV after this. I really am. Once upon a time, there was this super side that got 3 and 11 minutes with the Spuds on the pitch. I remember those. Yeah, they were playing against it. It was like that. But you know what? I remember there was a tweet I remember from that game. There was 2 substitutions being made at the same time. Tottenham were making one, and the other team were making one. And Tottenham were bringing on Gareth Bale, and this other team was bringing on this little Argentinian guy called Lanzini. And I remember the tweet saying, "We bring on Bale, they bring on Lanzini. Ha 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 ha." And I just always remember that tweet. And then it was a certain little Argentinian maestro who got that beauty of a last minute equaliser after us being 3-0 down in the 82nd minute. Yeah, scared the life out of my kids went out because that was COVID days, wasn't it? I think it was COVID days. There was no fans in the stadium. I was watching it in there. Scared the life out of my 2-year-old at the time when Lanzini scored that. But I remember my wife coming in on that day and saying to me, "It's 3-0. Why are you still watching?" And at the time, I was thinking, I don't know. But I had this feeling, just because it's West Ham, I'm going to keep on watching. And then when it's and then I kind of maybe a little bit rudely and a little bit kind of smugly said to my wife, "That's why I'll watch it till the end." So it says a lot when we look back on a 3-3 draw and think that was a fantastic result. It was a fantastic result. It was a great game, wasn't it? Fan reaction page is hilarious. What got me the most is that we get thumped by the pundits' audacity to say that isn't on Moyes' side. To say that isn't on Moyes' side. Oh no. You just got to ignore the pundits. Ignore the pundits. Just ignore them. Ignore them. Spuds don't want Champions League football next season because of humiliation getting early doors next season. Now, I work with 3 Tottenham fans. I work with 3 Tottenham fans, and I was speaking to a couple of them today. Funnily enough, when 2 of them left today, they were singing come on City," when they left, because they wanted to lose this game tonight because they don't want to see Arsenal win the league. Now, I did question them like it, and they said, "Well, they're not actually fussed about the Champions League because, the fans, they want to see Tottenham win a trophy. They want to see Tottenham win a trophy, and they look at the Europa League and feel that is a trophy they got a better chance of winning than the Champions League." I respect them for that. They're finally realising they're not as big as they think they are. They're finally realising that. And it's true, they've got more chance of winning the Europa League than they did the Champions League. And they recognise that they don't have as good a squad to compete in the Champions League. Obviously, being in the Champions League gives you the ability to build a bigger squad and better squad. But, yeah, it's just Tottenham for you, really. But I get it. They don't want to see them. They don't want to see Arsenal win the league, do they? I'll have to follow you on TikTok if I can remember my login details. Yeah, find him and then follow me. Yeah, Alex. Where's it gone? You can write it down. I've got it here somewhere with the banners. No, I don't know where they all gone. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I think that's the example banners. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that one. That's where you find me on TikTok. West Ham Fan 86. I haven't tweeted on this tonight. I haven't tweeted. I haven't done TikTok tonight. Anyway, right, where are my comments gone? Oh no, I've lost them all. Where are my comments gone? Oh, there they are. They're back. They keep deleting your comments on AFT. What are you commenting, usual suspects? Are you being a wind-up merchant? Didn't they get knocked out of the conference last season? No, it wasn't last season they got knocked out of the conference, was it? Because we won the conference last season. They weren't in it. Didn't they get knocked out of the Europa League? I think they were in the Europa League. Or were they? They weren't in the Champions League, were they? No, I think they were in the Europa League, and I think they got knocked out of that. I think it was Europa League. I may be mistaken. Or was it the Champions League? Did they go in the Champions League? I don't know. But no, something else that these Tottenham fans also mentioned to me is that we would be more interested in going into the Champions League next season if there was still a drop down into the Europa League, which they've taken away next year because it's that new league table in the European competitions, not just Champions League, Europa League and Conference League, big league table. Loads of teams. There's like 8 games in the group stages now, and the top so many teams go through. Then there's a playoff section, and then the rest of them just go out of Europe. There's no drop down into a lower competition anymore. No drop down at all. So yeah, that was another reason. They were like, if we finish third in the Champions League, we still don't have European football. So that I don't know. They probably don't feel good enough. I hope we can see 10 past see if it means Arsenal don't win the league last time. Well, we only need to concede 1 and not score. Now, Man City just need to win the game. If they win the game, they win the league. Doesn't matter by how many. But if we draw against them, then Arsenal could win the league. They could win the league. Anyway. Right. Well, I'm going to be ending it. I'm going to be ending this live in a minute anyway. Thank you all for joining me. Just want to address a couple of comments I saw in the last one where people were saying like talk about stuff. My lives are always a little bit different. I come in with a couple of subjects, and I always like to be. I like it to be an interactive show where I do, answer your guys' questions a lot, because I know a lot of people watch these lives after the fact. So when I'm not live anymore, and so it had the same kind of feel for it. So if anyone has been watching and they've got to the end, it's a very interactive show where I answer questions, because that was a lot of the criticisms where apparently I don't have a lot to talk about. But I do come in with things to talk about, and then I answer your guys' questions. It's a very interactive show where we can all talk. We can all talk and we can interact, and I can answer your questions, and it keeps it going. And we usually go on for a good hour because there's loads of things to talk about. Anyway, I am going to the Etihad on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. I've never been to the Etihad, so hopefully that'll be good. And usual, yeah. So I'll be for Moyes' very last game as West Ham United manager. Is he going to cause an upset and win Arsenal the league, or are we just going to get the usual and Man City get a job done, which they probably are going to do at home against us? Be very surprised if we cause an upset, but you never know. You never know. You never know. Anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight. It's been a great live. I will be back next Tuesday, and then we will start looking forward to the transfer window. We'll probably get an announcement on Lopetegui by then as well, and probably have some news on some possible incomings and outgoings. And then, of course, we've got the Euros as well, haven't we? So there's a lot to look forward to this summer. I think it's going to be a very exciting, very dramatic summer where there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So it should be really good. Anyway, yeah, as I say, I will be next Tuesday. If you want to follow me over on my YouTube channel, which is West Ham Fan 86 as well, You can go follow me on there for I do match vlogs and previews and just some thoughts sometimes on my YouTube videos. But you want to see more regular updates from me, Premier League football, West Ham, go follow me over on TikTok. Anyway, thank you all for joining. Hope you all have a fantastic evening and a great day tomorrow. And I shall see you all next week. Thank you for joining. And I've gone. No, I haven't. All right. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.